Okay, welcome back everyone. So I did release an update video at the beginning of November. However, a fair bit has changed over the past month in terms of my portfolio, so I thought it would be best to give another update. So firstly, we'll take a look at the overall value of my portfolio and how that has changed over the past 11 months. Secondly, we'll take a look at the split in my portfolio between the different sectors and how that's changing. We'll also look at the new purchases that I've made and additions that I've made in November. Then we'll move on and look at the star performers, which would be the best performing stocks in my portfolio over the past month. And finally, then we'll look at the dividend payments, which is, of course, the most important area for me personally. Okay, so let's get started then and take a look at the portfolio value. So as you can see here, it's changed a fair amount over the past 11 months. And in November, I have reached a value close to £22,000, which equates to an increase of £3,870 compared to just over a month ago in October. So a good steady growth over the past 11 months. If we move on then and take a look at the breakdown between the different sectors in my portfolio. So firstly, we have consumer staples, which accounts for exactly 1/4 of my portfolio, which is down 2% compared to the same time last month. Secondly, then we have consumer discretionary, which is also down 2% and accounts for 23% of my portfolio. Next then we have financials, which again is down 2% compared to a month ago and now accounts for 21%. Next then we have energy, which again down 2% at 16%. And next we have the main increase, which is healthcare, which has increased 7% from a month ago to 8% overall currently. Next then we have the technologies, which is up 1%, totaling 6% of my portfolio currently. And finally we have telecommunications at 1%, which is no change at all compared to this time 1 month ago. So things are starting to balance out quite nicely in the portfolio. I want to bring the top 3 down, so everything is down below maximum, I would say 15%. So this is everything just put into a single pie chart, which makes it a little bit easier to visualize. So still a bit of work to do. However, growing the healthcare section is really a main focus for me right now. Next then, let's have a look at the new purchases that I made in the past month. So firstly, I purchased an additional £400 in the Artemis High Income Fund, which I really do like because it's a monthly dividend payer, so a good one to get involved with. I also purchased an extra £100 in the Fundsmith Equity Fund, £100 in the Legal and General US Index Fund, £100 in the Lindsell Train Global Equity Fund, and the final fund that I have was an additional £100 in my Royal London Sterling Extra Yield Bond. Finally then, in terms of individual shares, I purchased an extra 57 shares in GSK, which cost pretty much exactly £1,000 altogether. So quite a number of additions throughout the month, totaling £1,800 altogether in terms of new purchases. Healthcare is one of the main sectors that I want to grow within my portfolio, and these additional 57 shares in GSK accounts for the 7% increase from 1% to 8% of my portfolio being from the healthcare industry. Okay, next then we'll take a look at the star performer for November. So this is really the stock which performed best over the past month. And for the month of November, this was Kainos, which is a software company based out of Northern Ireland. And over the past 1 month period, you can see here on the graph, their share price increased by almost 11%. So it's quite interesting then if we look at the longer term graph. So we'll switch across here to the 5-year graph, and you can see that they only came on to the stock exchange in 2015, and you can see a rapid growth. And of course, whenever I purchased my shares in the company earlier this year, it was right up near the peak here at the very top, as you can see by the orange arrow. Of course, what happens then? Well, naturally, there was quite a decrease, as you can see here, whenever I reveal the rest of the graph. However, thankfully, things are heading back in the right direction, and I wasn't trying to time the market. I genuinely feel like this is a very good company, and it's very promising in terms of its results. So things are definitely heading in the right direction. In terms of news coming out of the company, which happened around the middle of the month, all very positive. So they reported a rise in first half profits and also revenue. They also announced the acquisition of two other companies, and they also announced an increase in their interim dividend by 25%. So all very positive, and I'm confident that Kainos will continue to head in the right direction over the longer term. Next then, let's take a look at the individual holdings within my portfolio and how they are all currently standing so far. So here we go. Top of the list is still IAG, up almost 17% since I purchased them initially, so performing very well. British American Tobacco is also still up there and still yielding close to 7%. William Hill is still up, thankfully. Now, it did take a bit of a dive halfway through the month. However, it has started to recover nicely. WPP still performing well, and you can see then GlaxoSmithKline, I now have 65 shares in total compared to the 8 that I originally held. Again, still in positive territory, paying a quarterly dividend, just over 4.5%, so a very promising holding indeed. Unfortunately, the rest is in the red. However, there has been some improvements, which is good to see. Imperial Brands is still right down at the very bottom, but still paying a good dividend, and I still plan to hold on to them for the longer term. BP is one of the ones that I'm still unsure about. It has decreased a lot. However, I am actually considering doubling up now that the price is very low, and hopefully it will recover into the future and still pay the quarterly dividend, of course. So although there is a fair amount of red here and the overall portfolio is currently sitting down approximately 4%, I'm not overly concerned, to be honest. Kainos is a good example. This time last month it was down around 20%, and now it's rapidly increasing again. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm not trying to time the market. I'm trying to select good quality stocks, and I have faith and trust that they will increase over time, and of course they will continue to pay a strong dividend. Let's move on then and look at the different funds within my portfolio. So I still have the 5 that I started with, and thankfully overall here things are positive, if just slightly. So 0.5% up overall in terms of the entire value, and paying a yield close to 3% on average. In terms of individual performance then, so the Legal & General Index has increased, the Artemis is also into positive territory, and so is the Lindsell Train Global Equity Fund. So all three heading in the right direction. Unfortunately, the Royal London Sterling Extra Yield Bond and the Fundsmith Equity are in slight negative territory. However, they're still heading in the right direction over the past month, so I'm sure they'll move back into the black very soon. Next then, let's take a look at the dividend payments that I received over the past month. So overall, a very good month indeed. Firstly, from my individually held stocks, so WPP paid out £24, British American Tobacco just over £18, HSBC almost £12 exactly, Tesco paid out close to £11, and William Hill paid out £16 and 47 pence. In terms of my funds then, so the Royal London paid out close to £18, and of course my Artemis, being a monthly dividend payer, also paid out, and for this month it was £4.16. So overall a good month, with total dividends coming to £103.95. So let's take that information and add it into my graph for year-to-date dividend payments per month. So as I mentioned before, the start of the year was relatively small, as I only really started investing in Q1 and Q2, and I have literally seen the dividends of that since. Thankfully, November was a very good month and above my target of £100 in terms of monthly dividend payments. So definitely heading in the right direction, and I also expect December to be another very good month, and again it should hopefully surpass the monthly target of £100. In terms of monthly average, I have now reached £49, which is a £4 increase compared to the end of October average, and that gives a total dividend received so far this year of £539. Well, that's it for the update, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I think it's fair to say things are headed in the right direction. If you did enjoy the video, please go ahead and hit the like button, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. As always, I would really appreciate your thoughts and feedback, so please go ahead and leave a comment below. I'll also leave 2 other videos here which may be of interest, so please go ahead and check those out. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I do look forward to seeing and hearing from you all again very soon indeed.